Namaskar. I, Dikshita Garg, your host, welcome you to the first technical session of the National Teachers Conference 2023. It is both an honor and a privilege to stand before you today as we embark on this exciting journey of intellectual exploration, collaboration, and innovation. In an era defined by the rapid technology advancements, unprecedented global challenges, and relentless pursuit of knowledge, conferences like ours serve as beacons of enlightenment and progress. They provide a platform for experts, visionaries, and thought leaders to converge, exchange ideas, and chart the course for a brighter future. The theme for this year's conference, Counselling and Guidance, is a testament to our commitment to addressing the pressing issues of our time. So, without further ado, let us embark on this incredible journey of learning, collaboration, and growth. For this technical session, we have Mrs. Pallavita Barua Chaudhary as the keynote speaker, followed by paper presentations by the participants, out of which 4 papers will be based on sub-theme 1, which is identification of socio-emotional concerns of students, and the other 4 will be based on sub-theme 2, which is upholding mental health and well-being. Mrs. Rama Sharma will then reflect upon the papers that has been presented in the technical session 1. Taking the session further, I would now like to invite our keynote speaker, Mrs. Pallavita Barua Chaudhary ma'am, to the dais. Student counselor at IIT Guwahati, a trained and qualified teacher with almost 20 years of experience, she has mentored, guided, and counseled students at various institutions over the years. She is a clinical psychologist with formal training in counseling. Mrs. Chaudhary has a keen interest in the promotion of mental health and wellness. She also has, to her credit, a JSTF publication on the educational status of women in Assam from Omia Kumar Das Institute of Social Change and Development, Guwahati. A spiritualist and a humanist, she believes that positive thoughts, feelings, and actions bring about life-defining changes and transitions. To her, the world lies between the two eyes. We welcome you, ma'am. Now, we are pleased to invite Mrs. Rama Sharma to the dais. Okay. A graduate with major in psychology and master's in clinical psychology from Delhi University, she has been working with CBSE for over 3 decades, primarily heading media and PR unit of the board. She implemented RTI in CBSE, dispensing the additional charges as the nodal officer RTI, additional grievance officer, and public grievance redress. She has also ideated tele-helpline and entire counseling program in CBSE materials development, training, and advocacy. Now, I would like to invite our keynote speaker, Mrs. Pallavita Barua Chaudhary ma'am, to the podium for the keynote address.
A very good afternoon to one and all. Honorable Chief Guests, distinguished guests of honor, esteemed educators, and dear guests, invitees, and friends. It is indeed a great honor and privilege to be here today amidst this distinguished and august gathering. I'm humbled to get this platform and to share my limited knowledge on this very pertinent matter. Having said that, I'm equally delighted to share my insights gained over the years with my experience as a parent, teacher, and most importantly, as a counselor to youngsters and young adults. The topic that I'm addressing today the identification of the socio-emotional concerns of students is a huge area of deliberation. Given the limitations of time and scope, I would like to touch upon those concerns which have long-term implications and which I have especially noted with my experience. To begin with, we all are aware of the socio-emotional concerns the students face, compounded in recent years by factors beyond reasonable understanding and control. So apart from the universal and oft-quoted concerns, namely the stress of academics, the turmoil of physiological changes, especially at certain ages, the peer pressure, the changing dynamics of family relationships, the lures of adventure and excitement and such, what has emerged as major concerns are the growing psychological vulnerability of students, increasing concern and withdrawal and disengagement from communal relationships and physical activities, and the very strong focus on material and financial domain of life, the use and abuse of substances, and the fragile transactions of human relationships. A thorough understanding of background factors helps in not just identifying, but most importantly, in the prediction, prevention, and the possible interventions of the socio-emotional concerns. Traumatic experiences, chronic stressors, neglect and abuse, the quality and exposure of learning experiences, physical and mental health status, the temperament and personality, attachment styles, parenting styles, dynamics of family relationships, family functionality, and financial status are some of the fundamental factors behind the concerns raised. The parameters of distress, dysfunction, deviance, danger that we commonly associate with the assessment and the identification of abnormal behavior can also be contextually used to understand these concerns. Our previous speakers have so beautifully explained all the major areas of interest and concern. So I would limit my speech in, like keeping the time constraint as well, very, very limited to only what I feel is not or has not been covered so far. So besides the general ways of identification, namely observation of verbal and non-verbal cues, rather the language as we commonly use, emotional expressions, behavioral manifestations, etc., these socio-emotional concerns can also be marked or flagged by sociometry techniques, by psychological assessments, family history taking, and response notes. I, in my experience as a counselor in the school setting, have found that these markers or these parameters of assessing the socio-emotional concerns have proved exceptionally useful and effective. The interventions developed thereafter has the potential to change the architecture of the mindscape of students. So regular follow-ups, constant monitoring, and frequent interaction are the keys to decode the concerns. Now, as I counsel the youngsters and young adults, the importance of identifying the socio-emotional concerns in the school days have become all the more relevant. The importance of identifying the emerging concern, mainly lies in the increasing complexities of human life and society. Educational systems and its dispensers, as guided by the enabling and empowering policies, have to be ever vigilant to not just address and mitigate the causative and predicative factors, but also to sensitize the student community to the precipitating factors. Apart from the major goals of SEL, namely self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, responsible decision-making, the focus now has to shift to skill sets which promote health and well-being competencies, like self-care practices, stress management, physical and mental health and hygiene practices, social competencies like effective communication, assertiveness, negotiation, and most importantly, the psychological competencies of adaptability, generation of positive moods, optimism, empathy, and most importantly, resilience. The socio-emotional concerns have their origin in the early experiences and interaction faced by students at home, at educational institutions, and in various social contexts. Care and concern, compassion and empathy, respect and grace, shown to the sensitive minds at these interactions and experiences have the highest weightage in diluting the contributory factors towards the development of the socio-emotional complexities. A high amount of interest and effort must be invested towards strengthening the cognitive and the personality structures. Last but not the least, the dignity of the young individual must be maintained at all costs. I hope with these words I have been able to highlight not just the identification, but also the management of the socio-emotional concerns. Thank you for the wonderful opportunity you have granted to me to share my thoughts, and thank you for sharing your valuable time and listening to my words. Thank you once again.
धन्यवाद महोदया। इतने सुंदर, उत्कृष्ट और ज्ञानवर्धक वक्तव्य के लिए आपका आभार प्रकट करती हूँ। नमस्कार, एक बार पुनः आप सबका इस राष्ट्रीय शिक्षक सम्मेलन में हार्दिक अभिनंदन करते हुए अब मैं रश्मि प्रधान इस संगोष्ठी का कार्यक्रम आगे बढ़ाऊंगी। अब आप सबके समक्ष आज के तकनीकी सत्र के शोध पत्र को पढ़ने के क्रम की शुरुआत होने जा रही है। सभी प्रतिभागियों को शोध पत्र की प्रस्तुति के लिए 10 मिनट की अवधि प्रदान की जाएगी। सत्र को आगे बढ़ाते हुए हमारे आज के तकनीकी सत्र के प्रथम शोध पत्र की प्रस्तुतिकरण के लिए मैं श्रीमती अंकिता गर्ग जी को आमंत्रित करना चाहूँगी। इनके शोध पत्र का विषय है एडवर्सिटी फेस्ड इन चाइल्डहुड, द रोल ऑफ रेसिलियंसी एंड प्रोटेक्टिव फैक्टर्स।
Good afternoon to all. I'm a little afraid now. My name is Ankita Garg. Let me just recalm myself. A very good afternoon to all present here. My name is Ankita Garg and I am a school counselor at DAV Public School. I am also pursuing my PhD from Thapar University, Patiala. So this was a small demonstration of how people felt when they come to stage. When they come to stage, they become anxious. Their hands and legs become shaky. And our mental health affects in order to that. So my topic of research is adversity faced in childhood, the role of resilience and protective factors. Now, before moving on to the presentation, I would like to share with you all a short story of a girl named Alia. Alia was very hardworking, courageous, kind, and strong girl. She lives in a nuclear family. She lives with her brother, mother, and father. One day when she was in a class, her classmates bullied her and scolded her in a bad way. They said meaningful things to her. Then, after a few days, in the same school, a class teacher scolded her and humiliated her in a bad way. But Alia didn't care about it at all. What she did, she calmed herself down and carried on with her activity. Then, this thing happened with her 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, n number of times. But she was so courageous that she didn't care at all. She was calm all the time and carried on with her activity. She didn't complain this to anyone. Then after a few days, she found out that her mother is having a serious mental illness. She was collapsed at that time. Then she was depressed. She didn't talk to anyone. Even her school didn't know about her mother's illness. Then what she did, she remained silent. She was in a loophole in her room. Then one day she questioned herself that why God did this to me? God ने मेरे साथ ऐसे क्यों करा? भगवान ने क्यों करा ऐसे मेरे साथ? मैं इतनी नाइस थी, इतनी courageous थी और इतना kind थी people के साथ. Why did this happen to me? Then he answered herself. What she answers? She answers that it might be God is testing me. God is testing me that if I am strong or not. Then on that point onward, the girl bounced back and thrived every situations. Now I would like to quote here. Some people say we have to be broken to be fixed again. So the motive of this story was we all come across with different kinds of adversities. Some may face mild, some may face severe. But do we bounce back? Do we thrive the way Alia did? The answer is yes and no. Yes, when we inherit the personality traits, when we have the support system behind our back, we bounce back the situation. But the answer is no to those who do not possess those internal personality traits. I will talk about the personality traits which I have used in my research. So if you don't have those personality traits and if you don't have the support behind your back, you will not bounce back any of the situation. So coming to the presentation. May I have? Yes. So as I said, bounce back. So bounce back, what is bouncing back? Bouncing back is the resilience. It is the process of adapting well in the face of trauma. So building resilience is the topic of great interest and debate amongst researchers. So I took this topic, I took this variable in my research, and further we will talk about this. Now my objectives of the study was to study the impact of adversity on children's resilience. Second, to analyze the role of protective factors in children's resilience. And third, to design a conceptual framework to find the linkage between adversity and resilience through protective factors. So this is a conceptual framework. So adversity is the independent variable. Thriving and hardiness are the mediating variables, and resilience is the dependent variable. We have hypotheses according to this conceptual framework. I will not go about it. So coming to the literature review, as I said, we must possess personality traits. We should inherit personality traits in ourselves. ये अपने आप भी आ सकते हैं, ये हम ला भी सकते हैं अपने अंदर, personality traits. So personality traits, we have n number of personality traits. But in this research, I have taken thriving and hardiness as the significant personality traits. They are the protective factors that can boost resilience in the face of difficulties. Why I took this? Because many of the researchers have studied these variables and done research independently. So what I have done exclusively is that I have collected these variables and put it in a one research. So according to Harper and Brown 2014, thriving is negatively related to adversities and positively related to children's resilience. And according to Kobasa 1979, children with high levels of hardiness are resistant to the negative outcomes of stressful events. So the research of my paper was, it is a descriptive research design. Adversity is the exogenous variable. Protective factors are the endogenous variables, which we also, in my research, are the mediating variables. Resilience is the endogenous variable, and I have done statistics, that is descriptive and correlational statistics. And to test the conceptual framework, I have done structural equational modeling. So sample, it is of 250 students, 125 boys and 125 girls of different areas of Punjab. We have 23 districts of Punjab, out of which through the probability sampling, I have selected 5 districts. And from the 5 districts, I have selected 5 schools. And from that 5 schools, I have selected 25 boys and 25 girls. This was all done through the multi-stage probability sampling. Now the tools used. I have used Adverse Childhood Experiences Questionnaire. It is a 10-item questionnaire which was assessed by the parents and the caregivers. The respondent will mark 1 if they have faced adversity, and the respondent will mark 0 if they do not face adversities, and the score ranges from 0 to 10. Then the second, for thriving, we have measured Sterling Children's Wellbeing Scale. It is a 12-item questionnaire. Then for the hardiness, I have used Dispositional Hardiness Scale. It is a 15-item questionnaire. Then for the resilience, I have used Child and Youth Resilience Measure. It is a 26-item questionnaire. So in whole, we have 53 questions in total. Now coming to the results. As you can all see, descriptive statistics, correlation, skewness, and reliability in the table. Thriving, hardiness, and resilience are negatively related to adversities. It is proved in the correlation table. Then resilience is positively related to thriving and hardiness. It is also proved by 0.50 and 0.476. Then you can see skewness. Skewness I have mentioned here because some of you will question, or anyone can question me, why skewness? Because to see the normal probability curve, whether the data lies in the normal distribution or not, to see the symmetry of the data. And the reliability of all the scales were above 0.70. Now this is the regression weights, which comes from the structural equation modeling. So I will explain this with the help of a figure. So this is the figure. Adversity, the first hypothesis which I haven't mentioned, but I am now mentioning here. Adversity is negatively related to resilience and has a direct effect. That is minus 0.108. Adversity is negatively related to thriving and hardiness. So this was the conceptual framework. This was the results of the structural equation modeling. As we have less time, so I am moving further. Implications of the study, which is important. Let me just finish it quickly. So we have implications for educators, parents, and counselors. Parents must instill mental strength among children in the formative years so that they can build resilience in time. Then what they can do is, for example, they can engage them in a sport activity. They can engage them in a school play. For school play, I would like to mention here, we have initiated this process in our school. Now, while we are having this conference on 10th and 11th, our school is presenting Nukkad Natak on World Mental Health Day. And I and my team have personally selected those students who have faced adversities, who are shy, whose self-esteem is low. So we have selected those students. They were a bit shy at first. They don't want to take part in the Nukkad Natak, but we encourage them and counsel them. Now they have taken part in this. It might be the Nukkad Natak has been done today. Hopefully it was good. I will cover that up later. So the main point I would like to say is that we should take small steps to encourage the children, to counsel them, to motivate them to take part in those activities which are important. Because these are the, activities which will strengthen their personality characteristics, and they can further lead to behavioral outcomes and the resilience process. So as the time is over, I would like to thank you all for listening me, and the first session which I interrupted, I was not confident. That was just a demonstration. I hope you all like it. Thank you.
धन्यवाद महोदया। इसी क्रम में कार्यक्रम को आगे बढ़ाते हुए अब मैं हमारे द्वितीय प्रतिभागी श्रीमती शारदा चंद्रशेखरन जी को आमंत्रित करना चाहूँगी। इनके शोध पत्र का विषय है इफेक्ट्स ऑफ सोशल मीडिया यूसेज, पोर्नोग्राफिक गेम्स एंड पोर्नोग्राफी ऑन एकेडमिक, सोशल, इमोशनल एंड बिहेवियरल डेवलपमेंट ऑफ एडोलेंस।
Respected dignitaries on and off dais and friends in learning, very good, warm good afternoon to you all. I know that hungry stomach is not ready to listen, so I'll make it as quick as possible. In fact, I'm standing like Arjuna in Kurukshetra war, standing before all the Atiradha Maharadhas who have done a lot of research in counseling and guidance, and I'm a fresher, otherwise 41 years of experience as a school head. But today, from counseling point of view, I'm as fresh as a newcomer. What did we do in our school? Before I go to the story, I'll tell you. Last year, if we all sit in a time machine and go back, we all know what has happened to us last year. Last year, we all suffered maximum of behavioral issues, if I am right. It's not changing? Yeah. So what happened last year was, after 2 years of COVID, the children did behave at all. We had difficulty in making the teachers stand and the students sit down. We had difficulty in separating the grown-up children and making the little ones sit together. All of us faced. And this problem, which I have come up with whatever little of action research, has started at that moment and went to the peak in the month of March. So what was that problem? If we see, the problem was, we have come to know from few of the parents that some children have withdrawn. They have developed some kind of a withdrawal systems, that they're not talking to the family members, and they got addicted to a lot of social media and pornographic games as well as pornographic sites. So here I have brought the 6 case studies of 6 children, of course, in the anonymity. So you can see one case study of student A. He's otherwise very good in the class, but single child, with both the parents employed, has limited available time for interacting with the child, and deceptive behavior, low parental attachment, and desire for peer acceptance. If we go to the next child has a habit of watching inappropriate content, decline in academic engagement, single child, currently residing with working mother, Father resides with his parents, the mother faces time constraints and leads to lack of attention to the child. And socio-emotional behavior is lack of parental support, influence of inappropriate content, encouragement of younger children. To watch this. Now if we go to the third child, directly watching pornography. In fact, this was the trigger. The parent of a younger class child came and approached us saying that one link of this pornographic site has been shared with the whole class by this particular child. This has led all of us to look into this issue, and it was blasphemy. We were very worried about this child. And when we spoke to the parent, single child, stays with mother, employed, and father working abroad. Mother has no control over the child, and lack of emotional support, influence of older friends, denial of involvement and using all inappropriate conversations. In fact, he was influenced by college-going children and many more of such groups. Then if we go to the next one, same pornography watching, and younger sister, both parents are employed. Father maintains very strict demeanor. This is what actually the father was not ready to listen. The moment this issue came, I regret to tell you all, the father slapped the child in our office. This is in the office of counselor. We had to stop the father and take away the father from the room. So, what was the social emotional behavior? He wanted peer acceptance. Then what did we do? We went to the next child. I'm going to the student E. Can we have the next slide, please? And we have two more children, almost identical. I'm rushing with this so that I can tell you what we have done. So we have taken only 6 children here. We have identified more than 6, but we have categorized them into different ones. Initially, like each and every counselor feels, or each and every school head feels, we went for interventions. What were the interventions? Periodic counseling by the counselor. Parents were actually advised, we took a separate session individually to every parent to have a gadget control, to involve the parents in the family activities, to have one-on-one talk with the children. This is what all of us will do. So that's what we did. Told the teachers to involve them in all the school activities and classroom activities. And we also told the children that they have to be more participative. All these things went on. And after 2 months, we did a small assessment to see what has happened to these children. So when we went to that, can we go to the next slide? This is what the entire academic report is showing. No improvement in academics, nor in the socio-emotional behavior. Can we go to the next one? So what did we do at this point? Now, we were disappointed. My counselor, otherwise was a fantastic counselor, Chindu, came to me. She said that, ma'am, I don't know where things are going wrong. 2 months is too early, but somewhere we should see the change. Neither the parent is having a control. The teachers are having more and more complaints being received by the teachers, and the child is becoming more and more disruptive. What should we do? This was the situation after 2 months of interventions, early intervention. So what did we do? We went to a little bit of an innovation. Can we have next slide, please? Not able to go. So what did we do is, suddenly I remembered something. These children who are into this social media and gaming, when I spoke to them, I understood that they're very much technically inclined. Then I thought we should do something. I have a parent who is into this gaming. Very young parent. In fact, the child is in some nursery class. So, in anonymity, I spoke to the parent, requested him that on one-on-one, whether the parent can take the sessions of how to create learning apps, games with these children, because they're quite technically good. The parent accepted. We took his convenient time. What was the difficulty? The parents of these children were not ready. So we had to convince them. We took a long time in convincing, but they accepted. We have given such a schedule. It's all online schedule. Okay, I'm coming. So the moment that is given, what happened is that these children started showing interest in creating this kind of gaming apps. Fantastic, we are very happy. But what happens to the pornographic watching? There, we took the help of medical doctors who are our own alumni. We gave them one-on-one session with them, and we started making them to talk to these doctors in anonymity about the multiple questions they have, and these doctors started showing them the actual anatomy through the dead bodies. This has started showing some impact, and I can show you. Can we go to the next slide, please? So this started showing an impact on these children, and all this is in complete anonymity, one-on-one session, and the counselor at the background. Once we started doing these two activities separately to these two groups, today we are finding both the groups performing better, showing changes. I cannot say like a film, overnight they changed, but we are seeing the change in them gradually, and they are actually turning the disadvantage into advantage. So what I can tell you at this moment is, it seems when Arjuna was taken to Amaravati by his father after getting Pashupatashram, Urvashi told, I believe, I love you, why don't you marry me or accept me? He said, I believe you are equivalent to my mother, I cannot accept this offer. She got very angry and she cursed him that you will become a transgender. He was devastated. But Krishna told, I believe, turn your disadvantage into your advantage. When you have to go of 1 year of disguise, become a dance teacher. And he has become Brihanala. That has helped him a lot. So what am I saying is, we are having the children coming with disadvantages. It is in our hands to turn the disadvantage into advantage if we are ready to take up the challenge. This is a live action research. I have not used any technical terms because we worked with the heart. Thank you so much.
धन्यवाद महोदया। अगले कुछ प्रतिभागियों को मैं पहले से ही मंच पर बुलाना चाहती हूँ। आप कृपया पहले से मंच पर आ जाएं। मैं नाम बताती हूँ आपको। श्रीमती विभा खोसला जी, श्रीमती तौसीन खातून जी, श्रीमती सुष्मिता बरदोलोई जी, श्री अविनाश श्रीनिवास कुलकर्णी जी। आप लोग कृपया मंच पर आकर अपना स्थान ग्रहण करें। कार्यक्रम को सुचारू रूप से आगे बढ़ाते हुए मैं हमारे तृतीय प्रतिभागी श्रीमती विभा खोसला जी को आमंत्रित करना चाहूंगी। इनके शोध पत्र का विषय है एक्सप्लोरिंग द इम्पैक्ट ऑफ ऑथोरिटेटिव पेरेंटिंग स्टाइल ऑन सेल्फ एस्टीम एंड इंटरनल लोकस ऑफ कंट्रोल एमंग एडोलेसेंट्स।
Namaskar, this is Vibha Khosla, Principal Sriram Global School, and the topic of my study is exploring the impact of authoritative parenting style on self-esteem and internal locus of control amongst the adolescents. Now, we all know that why adolescence? So adolescence is a time when lot of changes take place. And at this point of time, there are changes which are taking place physically, in the cognitive, and as well as the socio-emotional phase. Now, what happens is, and according to the studies which were conducted earlier also, one second, I'm sorry. Ma'am, there's a problem with the clicker. It is going a little too much ahead. Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, it's just running. I mean, I press it once and it goes like a little too much in the front. So, no ma'am, no. Okay, chalo, I'll go with this, yes. Yeah. So as per the research which was conducted earlier also, it has been found that supportive and open parent-adolescent communication positively affects the adolescent's well-being, and supportive parents act as role models, helping the children to develop their emotional and social skills. Diana Bermrand has given 4 primary parenting styles, and I think some of us are aware about that. The first one being the authoritative, then authoritarian, permissive, and neglectful. In authoritative parenting, it is also called as positive parenting, and it is one of the most effective way, because here, due to the utilization of developmentally appropriate expectations, there is a balanced control, responsiveness, and effective parent-child communication is there. I would like to explain you with this diagram that in the authoritative parenting, there is high response and high demand, and there is an open communication which is there between the parent and the child. Whereas in the authoritarian parenting, there is a high demand, lot of discipline, but the children's voice is not there. In the permissive parenting, there is lot of warmth, lot of responsiveness, and children are not guided about what they are supposed to do. In the uninvolved one, it is absolutely a passive style of parenting, in which the parents are actually not bothered about what is happening. It's okay with them, with whatever happens, and children just grow up and there is just no communication at all. So the parenting styles, these are the variables that have been used. The first one being the positive parenting, also called as authoritative parenting. Here we see that there is a lot of impact of this kind of parenting in self-regulation, resilience, and positive interactions. The second variable that we have is self-esteem, which is characterized by individuals' thoughts and emotions concerning their values and importance. And we see that positive self-esteem is linked with physical and psychological well-being of the children. High self-esteem significantly enhances the mental health and well-being, and also the academic achievement and goal setting. We see that adolescents who have high self-esteem, they show less of aggression, less of antisocial behavior, and less of substance abuse. Now, positive parenting can actually boost this child's self-esteem, and parental rejection and overprotection are associated with negative impacts on the child's mental health. The third one that we have is the locus of control. So I would like to explain this locus of control, that it is said that authoritative parenting correlates with greater locus of control, and locus of control is that the person believes that whatever I am doing is my own doing. That is called the internal locus of control, or the child believes that whatever I am doing is dependent on others. That is called as the external locus of control. So it has been there that parenting style can predict a child's locus of control, and this has been confirmed not only by the cross-sectional studies but also by the longitudinal studies. So individuals with higher self-esteem, they tend to possess greater confidence, and they believe in their abilities to influence the life's outcomes through their own actions rather than attributing them to the external factors, and they also are reported to be happier. Now, moving on to the methodology, this study was conducted on adolescents. So we have been speaking that, adolescents, so why adolescents? Because adolescents are the harbingers of change. Our country has the maximum number of adolescents today. They are the future of the nation. Therefore, it's very, very important that, we cater to them. And in case they are not getting something which is sufficient. Ma'am, it's not even 5 minutes. I just take 5 more minutes. Sorry. So, I'm sorry. And in case they're not getting something at home, then what is the role of a school? what is our role? So that is the reason this study was conducted. And for this, we took the hypothesis, a sample of 80 adolescents. This was a convenience sample which was taken between the age group of 13 and 17, equally divided between boys and girls. And the scales which were used were Parental Authority Questionnaire by Burri, was used to assess the parenting style. And then we had used Rosenberg's self-esteem scale, which was used to assess the self-esteem. And Hannah Levinson's multidimensional locus of control was used to measure the locus of control. There was an informed consent which was taken, and samples were, the convenience sampling was done, and data was correlated using Pearson's correlation. The results were moderately positive, and there was a correlation which was obtained between all these variables. So one variable was impacting the other. So authoritative parenting was making a difference on the self-esteem, and authoritative parenting was also making a difference on the locus of control. And locus of control and self-esteem also were interrelated, and this has also been substantiated by other studies that parents serve as the primary source of learning when it comes to coping with stress. And children who come from cohesive families, they tend to demonstrate adaptive behavior skills and emotional well-being. So all what I said, all what I studied was about the parents. But अगर parents वो support नहीं दे पा रहे तो क्या करें? क्या बच्चे को छोड़ दें? What is the role of the school? And for this, I am going to tell you that after seeing these results, we understood that a cushioned effect has to be given by the school. So what can the school do? What can the teachers do? What is our role? And that is what we took, that the first thing that is the implication of this research which we are using in our classrooms is adopting a humanistic approach. And we are more humanistic, and we understand children better. We are trying to see what their needs are and try to cater to them. The realistic goal setting is done. Why do we want to set a goal which is this up high? Why can't we set smaller goals? The child feels, yes, I have done it. Once the child has done it, the child feels encouraged and tries to do more. So let's actually go ahead and set these realistic goals. That's what we are doing in our school. Peer mentoring system is being taken care of. One child who's coming from a family where there is support is supporting the other child. The buddy system is also helping a lot, because children can help each other learn better and to be better in terms of their mental health. The student council in our school does not include only the students who are the ones who are just the toppers, but it also includes the children who need the encouragement to shine. Because these children, once they are getting this encouragement, they are better performance. Stage exposure has been made mandatory for everybody. We have set up one period, and this period is known as the Listening Ear Initiative, where children are heard. अगर आप बच्चों से बात करें, उनसे पूछे, बच्चे सबसे पहले बोलते हैं हमें तो कोई सुनता ही नहीं है. We need to listen to our children. We need to hear them out. They have too much to say. So this period is a mandate. The second one is the decision-making simulations. हम कुछ भी पढ़ा रहे हो, हम history पढ़ा रहे हो, जो कुछ भी पढ़ा रहे हो, we can always ask them that अगर आप इस जगह पे होते तो क्या होते? So decision-making simulations can be enhanced, and workshops for parents have been conducted. Gratitude ambassador program has been conducted, and also counseling and life skills have been strengthened. I really hope that this study could be of help. And this has been taken in with a limited sample, but can be taken ahead with other children also. And as ma'am said, that this is for the rural that we are facing. Urban children are facing more problems. We can go ahead and help them better. And also, as Professor Thapa said, that this is protective, way. So this is a way where we can protect our children to be better. So with this, I would like to express my gratitude to each one of you and to the team CBSE for giving me this opportunity. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
धन्यवाद महोदया. मैं प्रतिभागियों से अनुरोध करना चाहूँगी, कृपया 10 मिनट की समयावधि को ध्यान में रखकर अपने शोध पत्रिका को प्रस्तुत करें. मैं सुनीता एस खानपुरी जी को और रश्मि मलिक जी को मंच पर बुलाना चाहूँगी कि वो आकर अपना स्थान ग्रहण करें। कार्यक्रम को आगे बढ़ाते हुए अब मैं हमारे चौथी प्रतिभागी श्रीमती तौसीन खातून जी को आमंत्रित करना चाहूँगी। इनके शोध पत्र का विषय है A Qualitative Study on Identification of Social Emotional Concern of Students।
Respected dignitaries, esteemed members of organizing committee, that is CBC, delegate teachers, a warm good afternoon to everyone. First of all, I'd like to express my heartfelt gratitude for giving us a platform on the very prestigious occasion that is World Mental Health Day. I'm very grateful for the CBC for giving this opportunity so we can share our experiences as counselors, as the wellness teacher, so we can implement this in the school and promote a better mental health and make a school and promote the holistic development of the child. Today I have taken the topic, identification of socio-emotional concern of the children. Why have I taken this topic? There is a very personal reason, and as we have the very less time, this is 10 minutes, I want to combine objective of the study, significance of the study, and why I have taken this study, this topic, I want to conclude together, and that I want to share with a case study. It is very disheartening to say that it is a case study because 1 year before it was just a child, now it become a case study. One child, one boy of 18 years old who is studying in the class 12, we said that very cute, very beautiful child, but doesn't have the muscular figure. At the same time, his girlfriend is very beautiful. As the teasing normally friends said that you have a very beautiful girlfriend, you don't deserve it. At the same time, the child is an average scorer, 70% in the class 11 and doing good in the class 12, but not as the excellent child. To make him excellent, teachers are striving, even parents are very supporting. So teachers are, sometimes we also said that word, kuch kar lo. Class 12 is the most important time. It is the, like you can make yourself or you can break yourself. Simply teachers said that you have to work very hard to boost yourself. And the child looked very normal in front of everyone and taking this guidance as, yes sir, I will do. And even parents are very supporting. A school program is going in the school. The children, the boy is taking part, taking pictures, doing all joy. And next day we get a news, the child hanged himself. The child is no more. So, at that time, here this topic, here is the most important of this topic, early identification. Then we can find if we can early identify the problems of the child in the school itself. If the parents can identify the topic in the home itself, we can save the child. It is a high time. Every day 35 students are committing suicide in India, and the student suicide rate is highest in India. So now we have to be we have to give importance to this thing as we measure height and weight of the child, to take to have a track of the physical growth. Why we don't have a measure of the happiness and resilience to know their mental well-being? It is very great initiative of the CBC to create awareness among the child about the mental health. Because of the stigma, we are losing our child. Because of the lots of the stigma associated with that, if anyone have the fever, they can go to the doctor. But if anyone have the mental problem, if anyone have the stress and anxiety, they can't go. Because in our society, we use the word pagal. Pagal ho kya jana hai? So it's high time now we have to break it. And early identification is one of the important topics. So this is the today's date, World Mental Health Day. So not only this today, I know in the many CBC schools, programs going on to mental health awareness week. I just want to request everyone, this is not about a week. A whole year we have to take care of the child's mental health, and we have to be ready to listen to them. And one more thing which I want to mention here, don't compare. In our time, we are doing this thing. In our time, we also passed from this age. We have to accept that now a child, they are more and more courageous than us. They are in this technological world. We don't have mobile phone at our time. We don't have the access to so much of the thing, but they have the more options. So don't compare yourself with the child. You have to see themselves as they are. So what is the topic? Socio and emotional concern of the student. So my objective of this study is to find out the socio and emotional concern of the student and to inculcate, to develop to make them socio and emotionally developed. So socio-emotional development is the quality which like they can emotional control, empathy. There like many more things are there which everyone must know that what are the socio-emotional things. So we have to work very hard to inculcate this kind of the quality in our student. So there are the 5 components of the socio-emotional component. It is a self-awareness, self-management, relationship skill, social awareness, and responsible decision making. As we have very less time, I know everyone knows that I don't want to elaborate it more. Just there are some of the common socio-emotional concerns. This is the financial and social status different, teenage pregnancy. This is because of the lack of awareness of the sex education, bullying, suicide, discrimination, body shaming, peer pressure, social isolation, academic pressure, cyberbullying and online harassment, peer conflict, and LGBTQ+. So how can we identify? So normally we have to very closely observe our child. There is one symptom, this is loss of appetite. The child is not eating anything properly. Avoid previously enjoyed activities, now doesn't taking part in any kind of the games and sports. Unable to control emotion. Normally we said that child is not behaving properly. Ghar pe kuch sikhaya nahi, but we are not going into the deep why the child is behaving abnormally in these days. Deteriorating academic performance. Insomnia or hypersomnia, recurrent absenteeism in the school, withdrawal himself or herself from almost all the activities, self-harm behavior, difficulty in paying attention and concentration. So there are some reason behind that. This is the hereditary, main and major is the discordant family, bullying and exclusion in the school, and excessive screen time. We have to work on that. First we have to reduce the causes to find out the solution. So this is the descriptive research study, descriptive research, and here 200 participants were there, 50 students, 25 teachers, and 25 parents. Data were collected from the student through the rating scale. A Google form is distributed to them, and they fill it. And unstructured interview is done with the parents and the teacher. Here, what are the data we have collected from the student? It is into the data analysis. Parents have said that as after COVID, the children have developed the screen time, less interested in outdoor games. They always like to play the indoor games, showing extreme emotions, lack of patience, and self-doubt. Now the main thing is, what can we do? One of the important topic of this, what can we do as a teacher, as a parent, and as a peers? Create a safe and inclusive environment. We have to stop this thing to compare each and every child in the same parameter. Some are the good in studies, some good in music, some good in the sports and all. Don't force everyone to score good marks, because nowadays marks is not counted anywhere. In JEE, they are not asking for marks. It's a competitive exam. In NEET, there is a competitive exam. Now common university entrance test. So don't force. Sometimes CBSE forces other authority to follow the good marks. Authority forces to the student for a teacher for good marks. Now teacher give stress to the student for good marks. So now we have to stop it. We have to include everyone all together. Implement mental health and well-being into the curriculum. Now it's time when we have to give the value education. Value education is there, but most probably as like it is mainly focused on the mental health and well-being. Role of the parents, like here most of the parents are seated there. I just want to request all the parents, don't compare your child with anyone. Say them their comparison with themselves, their comparison with not anyone else. If you want your healthy child, please be with the quote that say them, we don't want a perfect child, we want a happy child. And this is enough for them to bounce back from all their adverse phase. Communication, talk to your child, talk about the mental health. Provide them with the opportunity to explore on their potential. Normally I have seen during the exam time, parents said that ki abhi badminton mein nahi jana hai, kuch din ke liye classes band. Why we are doing this? These are their potential. Let them do what they want to do. They are sure they will be successful. So in the peers role as well, if you want that the peer will perform a role of the counselor, then we have to teach them with the empathy. At the end, I want to conclude here with some of the important key points is there. We have to critically observe our child, each and everything, and at the same time we make a collaborative environment with the student, teacher and parent, and we have to talk about these things. Thank you so much.
धन्यवाद महोदया। इस कार्यक्रम में अब मैं हमारी 5वीं प्रतिभागी श्रीमती सुष्मिता बरदोले जी को मंच पर आमंत्रित करना चाहूंगी। इनके शोध पत्र का विषय है A Qualitative Study on Upholding Mental Health and Well-being Among Adolescents.
Before Sushmita ma'am comes on stage, a humble request to all the presenters to keep your presentation under 10 minutes. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon to one and all present here. I, Sushmita Borloi from Maharshi Vidyamandir Senior Secondary School, Silpakuri, Guwahati, stand for you to present my paper, Upholding Mental Health and Wellbeing Among Adolescents. So my paper consists of the following content: a brief introduction, objective of my study, research methodology, result and discussion, limitation of my study, recommendation and reference. Mental health, a state of well-being. It includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. A mentally healthy person has the ability to cope with life challenges, learn well, work well, and make contribution to the society. It affects how we feel and think. The way we think, feel, will decide how well we will live our life. World Health Mental Organization defined mental health as a state of well-being in which the individual realizes his or her own abilities, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make a contribution to his or her community. Adolescents' mental health. Adolescence is defined as period between the ages of 10 to 19 years and is categorized at an risk stage for developing serious mental health issues, which is why research has suggested that it may be vital to intervene during this transitional phase. McGolled et al. 2013, Wick et al. 2017, World Health Organization 2018. Research suggests that worldwide, approximately 70% of adolescents with mental health issues will not receive appropriate support, services, or treatment pathways. Mental Health Foundation 2020, World Health Organization 2019. Therefore, early intervention have been acknowledged as a way to prevent and reduce the prevalence of adolescents' mental health issues. The objective of my study. The overall aim of the current study is to understand adolescents' perceptions on mental health and the level of anxiety they suffer from. Second aim, to develop an intervention to deal with the mental health issues of adolescents. Research methodology. A descriptive survey research approach was employed for the study. Population was very small, 20 students of class 12. Research tool, Sinha Comprehensive Anxiety Scale. It's a structured, self-administered, close-ended questionnaire of anxiety developed by AKP Sinha, retired professor and head of the Department of Psychology of Pandit Ravi Shankar Shukla University, Raipur, and Alan K. Sinha, retired professor or an HOD of Patna University, was used to measure the anxiety level of class 12 students. After completion of this test, the score was calculated for each student were calculated, and it was found that 15 out of 20 students report high anxiety. Findings also suggest that the different students have different understanding of mental health and well-being. Some have positive, attitude towards mental health, and some has defined mental health in a negative way. Limitation of my study is the sample is very small. Focus groups were carried out in only one school. That's why it's lack generalizability and repeatability of the test. So suggestion has been given, think of carrying out this research study in other schools also. Recommendation. So recommendation as an intervention we can take first one is proper guidance and counseling. Proper guidance and counseling will help to develop an optimistic outlook for removal of undesirable traits and also help to recognize and understand about one's talent and abilities will make the adolescent self-aware. Proper communication and appreciation. Many a times, lack of proper communications or negative communication is one of the common cause of conflicts between parents and teenagers. It is very important to appreciate that the teenagers have also a different view of the world and need to respect their opinion. Physical activity. There is an ample need for physical activity, be it in form of sports or yoga, for adolescents to use constructively their excessive energy. Regular physical activity reduces symptoms of anxiety and depression. Teachers' role is not only about teaching subjects in the classroom, they are also responsible for imparting knowledge which will help the adolescents to understand the value of life with challenges. Teachers should also help the adolescents to realize their inner potential and become aware of their own self. Last but not the least, meditation is one of the best ways to reduce anxiety, stress, depression, irrespective of age limit. It can not only reduce the anxiety and stress, but also can enhance the coping capacity of an individual. Regular practice of meditation can surely keep a healthy mind in a healthy body. I took reference of this following for my research. Lastly, I would conclude my presentation with a quote. Mental health problems don't define who you are. They are something you experience. You walk in the rain and you feel the rain, but you don't become the rain. Thank you.
धन्यवाद महोदया। चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं। अब मैं हमारे अगले प्रतिभागी श्री अविनाश श्रीनिवास राव कुलकर्णी जी को मंच पर आमंत्रित करना चाहूँगी। इनके शोध पत्र का विषय है द इम्पैक्ट ऑफ मेंटल हेल्थ एंड वेल बीइंग प्रोग्राम्स ऑन स्कूल चिल्ड्रन, अ बर्ड्स आई व्यू स्टडी।
Good afternoon to all dignitaries present on the dais and all educationists present for this conference. This is my third time presenting the paper in the National Teachers Conference. First was in Kochi, second was in Jammu, and this is the third paper which I am presenting. I am glad to see that CBSE initiative is taken for this to generate an interest, and this is a forum through which we can actually empower ourselves. I am Mr. Avinash Kulkarni, a principal of Loknete Ramset Thakur Public School, Navi Mumbai, presenting a paper on the topic, the impact of mental health and well-being programs on the school, a bird's eye view study. My study is limited, not so broad, but I thought I should put forward this in the perspective so that it can be taken in the rigorous research. A healthy outside starts from inside. That is the quote of Robert Urich, which suggests that how the mental health and well-being is important. If you take a look at WHO, the key areas which are highlighted, that globally in 7 of 10 to 19 year age group, the mental health disorder accounting to 13%. The depression, anxiety and behavioral disorder are among leading illness diseases. The consequences of failing to address this adolescent's mental health conditions extend to the adulthood, impairing both physical and mental health, limiting opportunities and fulfilling the lives of the adults. If I take you to the Indian Council of Medical Research, surveys which revealed that 12 to 13% of the students in India suffer from psychological, emotional and behavioral conditions. The mental health is so important. If you see the determinants of the mental health, very specifically, we need to think of emotional disorder, behavioral disorder, eating disorder, psychosis, and self-harm and suicide. So the mental health landscape for the school children presents a complex and multifaceted challenges, numerous factors which are there like academic performance, pressure, peer pressures, social dynamics, family interventions, and so much. The WHO has initiated a global program to initiate the wellness programs in the school. The same is the case with the Government of India. In 2017, the Mental Health Act has been released and it has mandated all the educational institutions to take care of mental health and well-being of the child. If I take the timeline of all, we will be having like National Mental Health Program in 1982, then District Mental Health in 1996, then Health Policy which was released in 2014, then Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan in 2019, and NEP also advocates that inclusion of all is required to be a part of our curriculum and pedagogy. So my objective of the paper was to just understand the effectiveness of the mental health and well-being programs initiated in my school, and to collect the viewpoint of the teachers and the students about the school well-being programs. The sample group was very simple within the school limits I had taken, and it is only class 9 students. They have found to be making so much disturbance to the school, so I had taken that as a sample group, and some teachers, 10 teachers I had taken in that. So the survey method is being used to collect the viewpoints of the teachers regarding the implementation of wellness program in the school. The sample group of 10 teachers comprised of PRT, TZT and 30 students of class 9 are the part of that, and they are responded, survey and interview. The responses collected from the individuals are statistically analyzed to conclude the effective level of implementation of the school wellness and health and wellness program. The results I will just discuss. 90% of the teachers are aware about the mental health and wellness programs and the initiatives taken by the school, CBSE and other organizations. They are aware of. The school training programs empowering the teachers at the first level to become the counselor was very helpful for them, because they are now becoming like a counselor and they found that it is useful because they are reaching to the every child and identifying the need of the child. They are also of the opinion that the stress level which they found in the students in the challenging situation, they are not having the stress management skills which is a need of our. The Health and Physical Education Program, which is HPE, it is compulsory for all CBSE schools to take one period. That was very helpful for me because every child is enjoying playing and definitely making yoga, meditation, and they are participating in their individual favorite games. This helps them to build their confidence level and physical fitness. Ultimately, it results into mental well-being. Art-integrated teaching also has shown the remarkable difference in the approaches of the child towards the subjects of the abstract concept. Like science and maths, many of the concepts, they do it with the art integration, and they found it easy for implementation, and that was brought their stress level below because of this art integration. The integrated curriculum like life skills and all, we are included, and that helps in adopting the healthy lifestyle, and their socio-emotional well-being has been taken to the higher level. So to conclude, I would say that empowering the teachers is most important part to be taken. Give the representation to the students. I forgot to tell you that in Students' Council, we are having the wellness ambassador as one of the students who is representing the students. So it is much needed that the child has to be taken into school wellness program as a part to represent. The teacher should be the first level counselor and maximize hand holding in every step. Adopt the promotions and prevention approach. A perspective of my research, I will just conclude saying that the findings presented in the study underscores the significance of mental health initiatives within the educational institutions. Evidences from both the literatures and my study have been well-designed programs can have a positive impact on the students' emotional and psychological well-being. These programs, when integrated into curriculum and supported by trained professionals, equip the students with essential life skills, improve their emotional intelligence, and provide them a safe and seek help when needed. So the key success for implementing the mental health program is an holistic approach. Thank you for listening. Thank you very much.
धन्यवाद महोदय। कार्यक्रम में आगे बढ़ते हुए अब मैं 7वीं प्रतिभागी मिसेस सुनीता खानापुरी जी को मंच पर आमंत्रित करना चाहूंगी। इनके शोध पत्र का विषय है अपहोल्डिंग मेंटल हेल्थ एंड वेल-बीइंग
इतनी शक्ति हमें देना दाता, मन का विश्वास कमजोर होना, हम चले नेक रास्ते पे हमसे भूल कर भी कोई भूल होना, इतनी शक्ति हमें देना दाता, मन का विश्वास कमजोर होना। आपको सभी को मेरा प्रणाम। Very good afternoon to one and all present here. I, Sunita Khanapuri, Principal of Christ International School, would like to present a small presentation done by my students. So mental health and well-being is already being taken care in my school, and I'm very proud that my students are really doing well. And here I have few queries. Man ki Shakti, this is what is required. And we as the community of teachers is the only community which is still pious, pure, dedicated, committed. Please give a huge round of applause to ourselves, because we are still surviving, doing the social service without looking into the salary part. We still have pathetic condition of salary of teachers, but we still don't look into it. We are the first round of counselors, But are our teachers equipped with counseling sessions? Sorry to say, no. We are lost in the maze. Our students are lost. They are on fast track. AI, VR, digital, technology. They are so much on the fast track, we are unable to catch hold of them. So the need of the hour is, this is the Guwahati's contribution. I thank the COE of team and CBSE board for arranging it as a, mentoring session for ourselves. We are huge into the mentoring session, but are we well equipped is a question mark for us. So looking into the need of the hour, I thank the CBSE board as well as the Guwahati team for making us come from Bengaluru to Guwahati. Thank you so much. We have a badge for my teachers which says, we all wear it every day, which says, teachers encourage minds to think, hands to create, and hearts to love. This is what is required. Nothing else, nothing more, nothing less. Our children know everything. So I will have a run through what my students have done, and whatever the speakers till now has spoken is being implemented, I'm sure, in all the schools. We are, as a learned person, we know what is mental health, but how to implement it. Holistic progress card. How do we go about with it? Are we having a standardized format for that? Are the teachers having standardized format to go for counseling? What questions should be asked? How do we address the parents' queries? These are the confusions in the minds of the fresh teachers, those who are freshers. They don't know. They have done NTT, MTT, B.Ed, M.Ed. But then, unfortunately, their competency skills needs to be upgraded. So quickly, I'll have a run through what my students have done. Can your mental health change over time? Mental health matters. Mental health is as just important as physical health. Tips that can help you to maintain mental health. Well-being is important. Mental well-being, what exactly is it? Is it meditation? Is it peace of mind? Is it having billions of rupees in the bank account? What is mental peace? Your mental health is a priority. Our mental health is a priority. With so many issues in the society, so many issues in the family, so many issues the child is facing with himself or herself. How do we make that child peaceful? Mental health is not a destination but a process. It's about how to drive, not where you are going. Who research says. Already we have discussed this from morning. Why are our children committing suicide? What is the reason? Find the reason. Yes, parameters are there to identify. But what happens? The child commits suicide. It's a question mark on entire community of teachers. Thank you. Having a nice day. You should not be the last speaker when your stomach is growling. Thank you. Have a nice day.
धन्यवाद महोदया। अब हमारे इस कार्यक्रम की अगली प्रतिभागी हैं श्रीमती रश्मि मल्लिक जी। इनके शोध पत्र का विषय है अपहोल्डिंग मेंटल हेल्थ एंड वेलबीइंग अ स्कूल बेस्ड स्टडी।
So good afternoon everyone, and I am the last speaker of this session, and of course, big hand to yourself. Please give a big hand to yourself because you've been actually able to sustain till this particular time, and in spite of having hunger pangs. And one thing which I always tell whenever I go to a meeting or a class, and that is, please keep your backbone straight. Can we all do that? Yeah? Have a smile on your face. And I'm not going to give you anything which is very, very heavy. But the first and the foremost thing is gratitude. Gratitude to the CBSE, to the training unit of CBSE and COE Guwahati for hosting us here. So give a big hand to the host as well. All right, so as you can see, the name of the study was Upholding Mental Health and Wellbeing in Schools. I'm sure that we all are doing something or else in our own zones, right? We all are educators. And now is the time to become gurus, because the children actually need the guidance and the counseling from all of us. But how and what intervention is working, how and what we can do about it is something which we need to research on. I'm not a researcher. I'm not a hardcore researcher. Believe me, I have been struggling to create a research, culture in my school. I wanted my teachers to do researches in their small classrooms wherein, they need to understand each and every child. I wanted my children to adopt the research culture. But I have failed till now. And this time, then I was sitting with myself and I said, okay, what is going wrong? And then I realized that I am not doing anything like this. So today I'm so thankful to CBSE that they've given me a chance, because this is going to, I think, start the culture of research in my school, wherein there'll be a showcase for them and they'll understand, okay, this is how we can create the research and this is how we can present it. So quickly going to the theme of World Mental Health Day today. Mental health is a universal human right. Please understand, it is their right. It is the right of us. It is the right of our children to, have the mental well-being. These are the synopsis. I'll quickly take you ahead. We have been doing a lot of, like all of you, during the COVID, we did, a lot of preventive measures. We were talking to the children, we were talking to all the stakeholders so that the mental well-being can be maintained, but we all know that it has damaged somewhere, some things. And, huge amount of impact will only happen if the child accepts it and the teachers accept it. Okay, this is how we can do it. And you can see a lot of peer educators are there in this particular slide. And I'll tell you why. Even our survey, even our research actually showcase the same thing, that the children learn a lot from their peers. So research objective was obviously that we were doing a lot of things and we wanted to improve the students' mental health, etc. And we wanted the child to be self-aware. And we had introduced spirituality also into the school curriculum. So we wanted to know whether these strategies and initiatives are perceived well by both the stakeholders, the children as well as teachers. We did not take parents right now in this research, so I'm only going to talk about teachers and students. Methodology was a mixed methodology where we had the quantitative study and qualitative study, and you can see the sample which we had taken. And methodology was obviously for data collection. It's very easy. We all can do that. We can create a survey form and we can just make the children sit in the computer lab and, type down and give the answers there. And for the teachers, whenever, we can go into the staff room, just speak in their free period and, get the answers. So this is the methodology which we adopted. And key findings were this. This is something which I have already highlighted. If you see, the question was perception of students' comfort level discussing the mental health, whether they are able to discuss that, whether they are undergoing certain issues or not. So it was very comforting to see that 4 and 5, the comfortable and very comfortable, was in a higher percentage in that particular sample. So that means something was working on. That means the kind of openness the children were feeling inside the school. So please do try this in your schools so that you also understand whether the children are comfortable talking about it, because until they start talking about it, we cannot do anything about it. The second thing was students' perception of stigma associated with seeking help. Again, this was very encouraging. Yeah, 44 to 45, 50% people were saying there's no stigma. We can talk about our issues. Yeah. So that is again an encouraging stuff. And then we have that use of effective channels in communicating information about mental health. So we asked them, we are using social media, we are using website, we are sending you messages. Is it okay for communication about the various sessions which we are doing, etc.? They said yes, it is okay. 61% says always, often. And then we had, this is very interesting, perception of students' engagement in extracurricular activities for emotional well-being. Just imagine, the students go for the extracurricular activities to improve their well-being. So please do not say this is extracurricular, this should be co-curricular periods, right? So please ensure that you take your children out and you do certain activities, the learning experience inside the classroom, so that their well-being is maintained. And of course, your students' perception about the academics, yes, they were not sure. They were not sure whether they were stressed because of the academics. So this was like something which we came to know. And then, of course, students' participation in various initiatives. Very interestingly, peer education sessions. They were very much looking forward to the peer education. And then students' mechanism to cope with negative emotions, again, talking to their friends. Yeah. So this was very, very interesting findings. And I'm sure that we'll be able to share these PPTs with the educators. So there were many other questions which were there. And then the qualitative data analysis with the students and the teachers through interview method. And of course, we wanted to ask that improvement or additional initiative, do you want that some improvement to be done? Then their responses are on the right side. They said yes, and one of the child came up and said that you should actually inform about whatever initiative you're doing in every weekly assembly. And we said, okay, we'll start doing that, so that the participation increases. And addressing the emotional well-being challenges, the students gave such beautiful responses, and the teachers also. And of course, the responses were academic pressure, and I'm sure with the 2 board exams in a year, etc., all the initiative that CBSE is doing, we would be able to reduce it to a certain extent. And peer education again came out, and meditation and stress management for the teachers is working very well in our school. We are having weekly meditation session with the teachers and the counseling session with the teachers. I personally take the meditation, and counselors we call from outside also sometimes, and then it is really helping the teachers. So conclusion that the mental health initiative obviously are significant, but we must actually include all those initiatives in the day-to-day life of our teachers and our students. Then only it will have an impact. We cannot have one odd session by an expert in a month or 2, and then they'll forget. Most of the time we are having the webinars, and the webinars usually you know how it happens. I don't have to mention all those things. So please do try to encourage research in the school system. And today is the best day of my life, I think, that I'm able to create an example for my own community right now, that they will be following it up, at least in my school. And I'm hoping, with the help of my counselor who's sitting there and clicking here, Jyoti Chaudhary, we would be able to achieve the aim of creating a booklet or a journal of all the researches which will happen in our school. So thank you so very much. I've already discussed all these things. Last but not the least, I will leave you with one statement. These are all references, that mental health matters. Even when the days are cloudy and dark, we can make an effort to see the light. And so many of candles are here, which are lighting so bright right now sitting in the auditorium. Why don't you just try? I'm sure that you are all trying. Just a little darkness in a child's life you can remove. I think our job is done as an educator. So God bless you all, and thank you so much.
Thank you to all the presenters for such wonderful presentations. Moving ahead, to capture the essence of this enriching session, may I now please invite Mrs. Rama Sharma ma'am to present her reflections.
A very good afternoon to each one of you. I'm a little hesitant in asking how's the Josh. Can I continue? Okay, I'll try to be as, brief as possible, though I would love to have a dialogue, with all of you, because this is a rare opportunity. I've been given the most arduous task of, reflecting upon the session, which was, of course, full of many ups and downs. As we were discussing the maladies which are existing in the system and also how to overcome them. But more or less I would say that we did gain a lot from these presentations. And our last presenter has almost summed up whatever was being said earlier. If Mrs. Chaudhary also agrees with me, my co-panelist and my co-partner in the jury. This is a very challenging topic when we talk about adolescents or mental health and well-being of adolescents or even school children, if I use the term broadly, because there are many issues involved. There are multiple role players, and we have identified at least 3 as of now, which is the child himself at the center, principals or the teachers or the counselors, and we may say that the school, and the third identity is the parents. So unless there is a symbiotic relationship, among all the 3, it will be very difficult for us to make a move forward. We may talk about many things day in and day out, but the resolutions will come only with the awareness. Now there are 2 A's that I would like to talk about. I'll come to that later, but as one of our panelists said, that there is a need for people to realize and practice resilience. Now, resilience is something which is practiced, but it is not a trait. It has to be practiced. It has to be brought to the notice of each child, because I don't think it is an inherent capability. It has to be groomed. There are many things that have to be groomed, because we are born with very different capacities and abilities. Each child is unique, and we have to understand that quality and also the capability that each one has. So our role as educators or teachers, principals, counselors is to optimize whatever a child has. You cannot leave a child behind, because, as I often say, that each child matters. So it is our responsibility to see that we handhold the child and also take them in this journey of self-realization, which many of our panelists have said. We are talking about, one of our panelists talked about social media and the impact of social media, which was, I think, very, very negative, and to the extent of getting children addicted during Corona and also post-Corona. Even DSM-4, for that matter, has recognized this to be a disorder. And there are special cells, if I'm not wrong, in AIMS, which have been set up for de-addiction of these students. So it is a problem that we have to deal with, and at the same time, I will say there are single parent problems. There are people who are parents who are helicopter parents also. They assume that by virtue of being parents, you have the propriety of being under control. And we forget that a child is, after all, also a human being, and he also needs the space and also time to, space and time to grow. We have to give in sometimes, and lack of communication in families and especially leads them to being even more dysfunctional. So these long distance relationships have never been successful, have never been encouraged, and they should not be in a situation where we are talking about a child. One of the panelists or the presenters also talked about making challenges as opportunity. Yes, definitely. We have to make every challenge an opportunity, and that is what we learned during COVID, when we were faced with so many challenges which we had not expected. So learning, something which is unknown and making it known and kind of, adapting to that. So adaptation is also one of the main things that I would say, that we have to teach children to be adaptive, to teach children to be flexible, so that they have flourishing personalities and they don't face these problems day in and day out. There is a positive use of technology, and this is what we have been talking about since the 90s, from the time of globalization. At every platform, I can say with whatever little knowledge I have, that we have been talking about the positive and negative impacts of technology. Even our chairperson talked about the obsolescence of technology, because there are new things which are coming up and replacing whatever is existing now. So we have to be adaptive and we have to be flexible to adapt to these changes, but these changes have to be positive. These changes have to go down in a very, very positive manner. So they have to be taught self-control also at the same time. One of our presenters also talked about growing up concerns, which are normal. We all have passed through this stage ourselves. We have been adolescent at some stage or the other. So understanding adolescence is also one of the issues that was taken up. And having one-to-one conversations about this, either through peers or through counselors, is also very helpful. Stigmatization, as one of our presenters just talked about, is of course at the lower ebb now because there is more awareness about mental health concerns and issues world over. There is a study which has been done by either a Canadian university or an American, I'm forgetting that, where it says that the number of students or the adolescents going for mental health relief or mental health consultations has gone up. And they like to talk about it, provided they have the channels and they have the access. So as I was telling you a few minutes back, when we talk about creating awareness in schools and setting up systems in schools, we also have to see that there is an accessibility. There is a reliable person, there is a professional who's there to accept and take these children and also give them the proper advice that they need. So that will also be one of the things that we'll have to consider when we move in this direction. Parental counseling is very, very important, as one of the presenters also said, that the role of parents is becoming very, very important and crucial. So we will have to involve parents at every stage. We will have to take them with us. And if you are aware, CBSE has also brought out a handbook on parenting, which was inaugurated in Sahodaya Complex conference last time, in this year itself in Pune. And we have given some very subtle issues, and we have talked about certain methods of parenting and how it is useful even for a single parent or for a person, for normal families I would talk about. Setting realistic goals was also one of the issues which was brought about, and understanding adolescence is one big issue that we have to deal with. Sometimes as we say that academic performance is the only benchmark. When somebody talked about the extreme step of somebody committing suicide, I think it is very important, because what we see in the classroom is only the academic performance. Behind the scene, whatever a child is going through is sometimes neglected, and either we do not know the alarm signals or the red flags. That is very, very crucial, because as we also say that each child matters, each life also matters. So that will be one of the responsibilities of schools, parents and counselors who are dealing with young adolescents, to even know what are the flag signs. So role of a teacher becomes very important only in, let's say, raising that alarm and referring the child to a specialist, or saying that this is what I feel over a period of time, instead of labeling and stigmatizing. I think that is one thing we will have to steer clear of. But at the same time, this is one thing that can be done. And that will be, I think, a great service to the child also, because if we see that there are certain unseated, deep-seated and unrecognized signals which only reflect in our academic performance. But one also has to find out that why is the academic performance suddenly at a, on a low graph. Why is that happening? So maybe there are reasons behind that. Whatever we see may not be always the truth. We have to look to see beyond whatever is, obvious. I think that is one thing we will all have to see. There are resolutions which have been given by some of our presenters, very well articulated. And building communities, I think, it will be, in the end, I will like to sum it up and say that building communities and linkages will be very, very important in the times to come. And as I already said, these have to be done between parents, schools, and the child himself. This will hopefully lead to many insights and experiences which will help in creating safe and secure environments for children. Another aspect that I like to talk about is the joy in learning. What is joyful learning? And I think we are all on the same page when we say that any learning which is integrated with art and art forms also has a long-term effect, also infuses the classroom with more, joy and excitement. So I think more or less I have summed up whatever was presented today about the social emotional concerns of adolescents, their problems and their resolutions. So it is very important in the end to say that we also have to create, besides awareness, access to facilities, parental support, how to develop resilience in the face of adversities, which will come with life skills. And something very important, even the research recently states that a child has to find purpose in life. Give him a purpose. Tell him that he is important. Engage him with, activities that he likes or he will like to contribute to. Peer educators are also at the same time very, very important. And in the end, I think I will again like to say that the principals and teachers and all of us here are important links, in the life of a child, because most of the time a child spends is in school. So we all become co-functionaries in realizing this important issue of mental health and well-being. And CBSE also stresses upon the availability of wellness teachers in schools for their psychological well-being. And such a facilitation helps build positive attributes in an individual to understand themselves as they discover their needs, interests, and capabilities. It also improves their academic outcomes and their classroom behaviors. So in all, I think it is very beneficial. And I wish to thank each one of you to, listen me out so patiently. And I hope that in the time to come, in these next 2 days, we will collaborate more, and there'll be more knowledge sharing and innovation and collective effort to have a secure and safe physical environment for children as far as their mental health is concerned. Thanks to one and all. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your wonderful insights. It was indeed very enriching. With this, we come to an end of the technical session 1.
Thank you, Dikshita ma'am.